So let's get into our content. A little bit of background so we're all on the same page. Back in April of 2022, which is not even a year ago, an OIG report came out that the Medicare Advantage organizations used clinical criteria that were not contained in Medicare coverage rules. And I think the second one is was really interesting to read in the OIG report. They felt that CMS guidance was not sufficiently detailed enough to determine whether MAOs could deny authorization based on their own internal clinical criteria that go beyond Medicare coverage rules. And so in response to that, Medicare in August then sent out an RFI, a request for information. They were looking for information back from not only providers, but also patients. And I know a lot of patients also sent in their comments on their experiences. So they were looking for utilization management feedback on coverage and care, as well as some other feedback as well. I think there were like 12 or more sections of different, avenues of Medicare Advantage behavior that they were seeking information on or feedback on. Almost 4,000 comments were sent to CMS on that. And I think that was just a tremendous response. You could still go to the website and look through those comments if you'd like to. They're still out there. The two sections that we're going to talk about today primarily are the utilization management recommendations from CMS, and also a little bit about prior authorization. There are other areas of this proposed rule that you may be interested in, especially when it comes to skilled nursing, rehab, and those types of things. For our purposes, we kind of narrowed the scope down to just utilization management and prior authorization. So December 27th, CMS issued their proposed rule that is proposed to go into effect for contract year 2024, so that'd be next year. And they are proposing to codify existing Part C and Part D sub-regulatory guidance. And I think, Bill, you're going to touch on that just a little bit today to kind of explain a little bit about what that means. If you go to the website, which I have a very long URL there for you to access this proposed rule on the Federal Register, or you can just put in your favorite search engine, CMS 4201-P, and find it. If you go there, and look for provision E, that's the one that we are talking about, and that's the utilization management and prior authorization. And as I said, comments are due to CMS by February 13th. After our guest speakers talk today, I'm going to walk you through how to submit your comments and a little bit more about provision E, or I'm going to talk right now a little bit about provision E and what that means. So provision E, there are 4 items in provision E that CMS talks about in kind of their introduction in the Federal Register. So I just have those quoted here. This is word for word what it says in the Federal Register proposed rule. So they're going to, in the proposed rule, require MA plans to follow traditional Medicare coverage, their NCDs or LCDs or statutes and regulations when making medical necessity determinations. Now, they're already supposed to be covering NCDs and LCDs, but they're going to, like I said, codify it so it's not a sub-regulatory guidance, but it'll be, an actual rule. They also are going to require plans to provide a public summary of evidence that they use when they develop any of their own internal coverage criteria that they use to make medical determinations. They're going to require that any approval granted through a prior auth process has to be valid for the duration of that course of treatment. And any member who transitions from traditional Medicare to an MA plan or to a different MA plan, there has to be a 90-day transition period. So that's kind of a win for our patients to have that bit of protection. And then they're also going to require MA organizations to establish a committee led by their medical director so that they can keep current of LCDs, NCDs, and other traditional Medicare coverage policies, which I would hope they were doing anyway. That's in the proposed rule as well. And then one last slide before I turn it over to Dr. Hugh. This, if you haven't kept up with the trends, I know you all have. This is from Kaiser Family Foundation, their latest report on Medicare Advantage enrollment. And you can see for 2022, we're up to about 48% of Medicare people who are eligible for Medicare benefits are selecting Medicare Advantage plans. So we're just about to 50% now. So, and, you know, predicted to continue to grow. So we really have to, as providers, get our arms around this and determine, you know, how best can we meet the needs of our patients, but still be, you know, in the business of providing medical care.